General Hospital spoilers reveal that Rick has agreed not to hand over the CCTV footage proving Kristina cut Ava's brake lines to the police, an unexpected decision that completely shifts the direction of the story. One of the newest shocks is exploding into view, exposing a wild new storyline. Rick, the man who has always demanded justice and accountability, has chosen to remain silent about a serious crime. Rick's decision isn't just about protecting Kristina or preserving family peace, as he told Alexis. In truth, it reveals that Rick has some explosive calculations underway. He realizes that by withholding this evidence, he now possesses an incredibly powerful bargaining chip, not only over Kristina and Alexis, but also over Sonny and the Corinthos family. This isn't the first time Rick has kept secrets or manipulated a situation to serve his own goals, but this time, the card in his hand is especially potent. Rick is quietly planning to use this information to pursue much larger ambitions, plans he's harbored for a long time. Sitting alone in the hospital room, staring at the video on his phone, footage clearly showing Kristina cutting the brake lines, Rick begins outlining a complex strategy. He could use it to pressure Sonny in business dealings, demand a role in Sonny's organization, or even a share of control over Corinthos' legitimate operations. He may also use it to reclaim the power and influence within the Corinthos family he's always felt he deserved, but was denied. Rick is even considering using the information to negotiate with Ava, who he knows would pay a high price to keep Kristina from being prosecuted, especially in her current financial troubles. Rick sees that Ava has connections and resources he can leverage, and an alliance with her could yield significant gains. At the same time, he knows Ava is an unreliable partner, and any deal with her must be approached with extreme caution. Rick's new strategy is weaving a complex web of power and influence. He's carefully weighing each step, calculating when and with whom to reveal this information to extract maximum benefit. He has begun listing those who could be affected by Kristina's actions and mapping out how each one might be manipulated to serve his goals. This reveals not only Rick's strategic acumen but also the complexity of his character, a man willing to forsake justice to fulfill personal ambition. Rick's calculations even extend to carefully timing his move. He knows waiting too long could devalue the information, but acting too soon might prevent him from exploiting its full potential. He's monitoring upcoming events in Port Charles, a local election, a major business deal, or a significant family gathering, to pinpoint the optimal moment to use this evidence. Another key consideration in Rick's planning is Molly's reaction. He knows his daughter would disapprove of him using the footage to blackmail or manipulate others. Molly values honesty and fairness, and she would never accept such actions from her father. Rick has begun preparing explanations and justifications, hoping to convince Molly that his actions are necessary, or even fair in some twisted way. As Rick's schemes unfold, they're set to trigger a chain reaction throughout the Port Charles community. Alexis will be forced to confront the possibility of her daughter being blackmailed and may consider coming forward with the truth before Rick can weaponize it. Sonny will have to reevaluate his relationship with his brother, realizing that Rick remains unchanged and is still willing to hurt family to achieve his ends. Ava will have to recalibrate her moves in the power game, deciding whether an alliance with Rick is worth the risk, or if she should strike first and expose his plan. Elizabeth, injured in the car crash, will also face tough questions about the man she once loved. Can she accept Rick's actions, or will she feel betrayed, knowing he's using their shared tragedy as a tool for personal gain? This could deeply alter her perspective on their past relationship. Ultimately, Rick's decision to withhold evidence isn't just about protecting Kristina or preserving family harmony, it's a strategic move in a much bigger game he's been playing for years. It proves that Rick remains unpredictable and dangerous, willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his objectives. As the story develops, fans will be left wondering, will Rick's cunning plans bring him the power and influence he craves, or will they backfire and lead him into even deeper trouble? As Rick continues refining his plan, he's also preparing for potential fallout. He knows Sonny might respond with violence, Alexis could use her legal expertise against him, and Ava might try to turn the tables. Rick has started putting precautions in place, ensuring the video evidence is safely stored in multiple locations and creating backup plans in case things go sideways. This is a new Rick, a man who has learned from past failures and is now applying those lessons with a new level of sophistication. He's no longer the impulsive, emotional man Port Charles once knew. Instead, he's become a cold, calculating strategist, willing to wait for the perfect moment and strike with precision. As events continue to unfold, one thing is certain. Port Charles will never be the same once Rick executes his plan. And for Kristina, whose reckless actions sparked this entire chain of events, the consequences could be far beyond anything she imagined. She's not only facing possible criminal charges but also being used as a pawn in a power game she doesn't even know she's part of. Rick's new calculations are reshaping everything. One of the most recent adjustments reveals how Rick is still prioritizing his family. Although, on the surface, his decision to withhold the evidence might seem like an attempt to shield Molly from the heartbreak of seeing her sister arrested, the truth runs much deeper. Rick is balancing his thirst for power with his love for his daughter. He knows that exposing Kristina would destroy the slowly rebuilding bond between Molly and her sister, and could also drive Molly away from him forever. Thus, Rick has revised his strategy, searching for a way to leverage the evidence to his advantage without hurting Molly. But the story takes another twist as Rick begins to accept the evolving, dangerous calculations Ava is making. Ava, with her manipulative nature, has spotted the same opportunity as Rick. She proposed an alliance, a deal where both parties can benefit. Ava wants to use the footage to extort money from Alexis and solve her financial problems, while Rick sees it as a path back to influence in the Corinthos family. Initially, Rick was wary of the idea, aware of Ava's untrustworthy nature. But as she outlined how they could collaborate, sharing information and resources, Rick began to see the value in such an alliance. This is rapidly turning into one of the wildest and most dangerous developments yet. By agreeing to work with Ava, Rick is putting himself in a perilous position. Ava is an unstable partner, ready to betray an ally if it benefits her. What's more, if Sonny or Alexis find out Rick is not only hiding evidence but plotting with Ava to blackmail them, the fallout could be devastating. Sonny has nearly killed Rick for far less in the past, and Alexis may never forgive him if he threatens her daughter. The danger intensifies as Ava suggests expanding their scheme, not only using the footage to blackmail Alexis and Sonny but to manipulate others in Port Charles as well. She's hinted that Elizabeth, as the crash victim, could be used to publicly pressure the Corinthos family. She's even suggested they use the situation to influence local business and political landscapes. Ava's plan grows more intricate and treacherous, but Rick, enticed by the promise of power and influence, has begun to take her proposal seriously. As Rick and Ava move forward with their scheme, the dangers and risks mount. They're playing a dangerous game with the wrong people, and getting caught could be catastrophic. But both are driven by ambition and greed, willing to take the risk to get what they want. As Port Charles braces for the storm ahead, one thing is clear. The alliance between Rick and Ava will bring unpredictable consequences, not only for them but for everyone involved. As their plan continues to evolve, Rick is beginning to realize he may be going too far. Thoughts of Molly and how she would react to his actions are beginning to haunt him. Would his daughter ever forgive him if she knew he was willing to exploit a family tragedy for personal gain? These thoughts have caused Rick to pause and reassess his priorities, questioning whether the path he's on is truly worth it. Rick genuinely wants to win Alexis's love back. This desire is partly what drives him to be lenient with Kristina. Deep down, Rick still harbors strong feelings for Alexis, the woman with whom he once shared a deep relationship and a daughter, Molly. Though many years have passed and both have moved on with their lives, Rick can't deny that Alexis still holds a special place in his heart. His decision not to reveal the evidence of Kristina's actions isn't just about protecting Molly, it's also Rick's way of showing Alexis that he can be someone trustworthy. Someone who understands and supports her during her most difficult moments. As Rick lies in his hospital bed, watching Alexis worry over Kristina, he realizes that his love for her never truly faded. He observes how she fights to protect her daughter, how she balances love and duty, and he can't help but admire her strength and courage. Rick knows that if he wants a second chance with Alexis, he must prove he's changed, that he's no longer the impulsive, manipulative man she once knew. Meanwhile, if Sonny harbors deep resentment toward Ava, it becomes clear that some recent behavioral shifts are taking place, and a major change is unfolding. Sonny and Ava have a long, complicated history, filled with betrayal and emotional wounds. Ava has repeatedly interfered in Sonny's life and business, causing serious consequences. Most recently, Ava attempted to blackmail Sonny by threatening to expose the truth about Kristina's actions, his daughter. This sparked deep fury in Sonny. A man who values family above all else and is willing to do whatever it takes to protect them. Sonny had to restrain his rage when Ava confronted him with the footage and demanded money in exchange for her silence. While his first instinct was to threaten her, Sonny realized he needed to be smarter and more strategic. Ava had evidence that could destroy Kristina's life, and Sonny needed to retrieve it without endangering his daughter. This situation paved the way for an unexpected shift. Sonny and Rick might actually team up against Ava. When Rick realized both he and Sonny had valid reasons to stop Ava, he began to consider something he had never imagined before, working together with his estranged brother. Rick cautiously approached Sonny, shared his concerns about Ava's intentions, and suggested they work together to neutralize her. Their meeting took place in Rick's hospital room, where Sonny had come to visit him after hearing about the accident. At first, their conversation was tense and filled with suspicion. Sonny questioned Rick's motives and whether he intended to use the situation against Kristina. Gradually, the tension eased, and the two began discussing how they could work together to stop Ava. Sonny was initially skeptical of Rick's intentions. Their history is full of betrayal and rivalry. But as Rick laid out how Ava was attempting to blackmail them both and put their families at risk, Sonny started to listen. He began to see Rick not as an enemy, but as a potential ally. With Rick's legal knowledge and strategic thinking paired with Sonny's power and resources, they could form a formidable force against Ava. The surprising partnership took shape when Rick revealed the CCTV footage he had been hiding. He explained that he had no intention of using it to hurt Kristina. On the contrary, he was protecting her from legal consequences. Though still cautious, Sonny began to see Rick in a new light, not as a threat, but as a brother trying to protect the family. As Sonny and Rick started forming a plan to bring Ava down, they developed a two-pronged strategy. Rick would continue pretending to work with Ava, gathering intel about her plans and intentions. Meanwhile, Sonny would use his connections to dig into Ava's business and finances, looking for weaknesses that could be used against her. Their goal wasn't just to keep Ava from using the footage against Kristina, it was to drive her out of Port Charles entirely, or at least strip her of the power to do further harm. Rick suggested leveraging his legal contacts to investigate Ava's financial troubles, including her debts and tax obligations. Sonny, on the other hand, offered to use his influence within the community to isolate Ava, turning her business partners and allies against her. This alliance marked a turning point not just in Rick and Sonny's relationship, but in the power dynamics of Port Charles. Two powerful and often opposing men now stood side by side against a common enemy. This could lead to major shifts not only in their relationship, but in the town's entire balance of power. As their plan advanced, both Rick and Sonny knew they were playing a dangerous game. Ava is not an opponent who goes down easily, and she may become even more dangerous when cornered. But with Rick driven by love for Alexis and Sonny by his desire to protect his children, both men are ready to take the risk. Meanwhile, Alexis remains unaware of this new alliance. She's focused on protecting Kristina and dealing with Ava in her own way. When she eventually finds out that Sonny and Rick have joined forces, how will she react? Will she feel grateful for their support, or betrayed that they acted without her consent? And will Rick's feelings for Alexis be strong enough to keep him on this cooperative path with Sonny, or will he revert to his old manipulative ways if it serves him better? As Port Charles braces for the turmoil ahead, one thing is certain, the partnership between Sonny and Rick will bring unexpected consequences, not only for them and Ava, but for everyone involved. Alexis, trying to protect her daughter, will face tough choices once she learns about the unlikely alliance between her ex-husband and her daughter's father. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, still recovering from the accident, begins to grow suspicious of the quiet conversations between Rick and Sonny. With her sharp intuition, she senses something is going on, something tied to the crash and Kristina's actions. Will she decide to investigate, or keep her distance from the secretive dealings of the men in her life? As each character moves forward with their own motives and plans, Port Charles is on the verge of a storm, one that could forever alter the lives of everyone involved. Ava, on the other hand, has taken matters into her own hands, determined to create a new story after attempting to blackmail both Sonny and Alexis. Unsatisfied with waiting for them to cave to her demands, Ava decided to take a bold new step to increase the pressure. She secretly reached out to a local newspaper reporter, offering vague tips about a dangerous incident involving the daughter of a powerful figure in town. Though she was careful not to reveal too much, her hints were enough to spark the reporter's curiosity, and soon a small article appeared in the Port Charles press, catching the immediate attention of both Sonny and Alexis. One of the latest shocking developments is growing increasingly chaotic, revealing a disturbing obsession. Ava is no longer content with blackmail, she's starting to feel a thrill and sense of power from this dangerous game. She's beginning to enjoy the feeling of holding Kristina's fate, and by extension, Sonny and Alexis's, in her hands. Each time she sees the worry and fear on their faces, Ava feels a dark satisfaction. This obsession is intensifying, pushing Ava toward increasingly reckless and dangerous decisions. In one of the most shocking moves yet, Ava begins to target Kristina directly, instead of just blackmailing Sonny and Alexis. Ava decides it would be more satisfying if Kristina herself knew that her fate was in Ava's hands. In a seemingly coincidental meeting at Metro Court, Ava subtly lets Kristina know she's aware of her actions, and has proof. The fear and confusion on Kristina's face as she realizes Ava could destroy her life at any moment is unmistakable. The shock intensifies as Ava makes an unexpected offer: she'll keep quiet, but only if Kristina agrees to work for her, as a spy inside the Corinthos family. This move catches everyone off guard. Ava doesn't just want money, she wants a pawn inside her enemy's home, someone she can manipulate to monitor Sonny's every move. As this revelation begins to unfold, it will send shockwaves through everyone involved. Sonny and Rick, thinking they're in control by working together, will be forced to face the fact that Ava has outmaneuvered them. Alexis, fighting to protect her daughter through legal means, will now face the terrifying possibility that Kristina may fall under Ava's control. And Kristina, already burdened by the consequences of her impulsive actions, must now make an impossible choice: either become Ava's spy or face the legal repercussions of what she's done. As Port Charles braces for the chaos ahead, one thing is certain: Ava is pushing everything to the brink of collapse, and no one, not even her, can predict how it will all end. This is no longer just a power play. It's a dangerous gamble, where everyone involved stands to lose everything.